I am incubator.
Wrong topic again. Nightshade.
I don't actually know how to pronounce that in Japanese, but whatever. Welcome to Tea and Toffee's a twice monthly podcast. I'm Nightshade and I'm Lieben. Hi. Hello.
And hi, I'm Cecilia. I was a witch in my previous life.
Oh, you can look at this. You can
Yeah?
see both my rings now.
Oh.
So I'm not wearing my glove.
Yeah,
Yeah, as promised. Hi, look at this.
hi. Yes.
It still has some feminine qualities, but like my lashes are not as long, my lips are not as pink, my hairstyle is more casual. I let my hair down literally.
Yes, you let your hair down and that nice little bow tie.
And this outfit, my boobs aren't that large, but the other outfit just emphasizes my chest. But in this one, it's like,
yeah.
No. Also, I'm still wearing a skirt. You can't see it. Can I? Yeah, no. Sorry. I am still wearing a skirt. Because trousers aren't comfortable.
The table makes it a bit hard to see.
Yeah. I usually only use this avatar for streaming. Because it's not as fancy. It's just a casual avatar, right?
Yeah.
Body, version, outfit. Just a casual outfit. But like I said, I promised to use it this time, so I'm gonna do that. Okay. Part 2 of Loki. Last time, that is me, myself, and I, talked about comics and the TV show's erasure of gender fluidity. In today's episode, that is me, are going to discuss Sylvie not being a Loki and Sacred Timeline versus Multiverse, Kang the Conqueror, stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Before that,
I'm present. Hi.
Yeah, before that, Cecilia, pick 3 favorite MCU installments.
Doctor Strange.
All 3?
Well, the first one was really good. And there are only 2.
Only 2?
Yes, unless I'm mistaken, I think there are only 2.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness was the second one.
Yeah, and I was
so
hyped,
weird.
And then it didn't live up.
Yeah, because in my mind the second one was different, but I think they just scrapped the idea or something. Because phases were moving differently. And why is this body moving differently? I have to get used to this. Second was Multiverse. That one was garbage.
Yeah, but first Doctor Strange one. What if? Definitely up there. And then maybe the first Black Panther or Shang-Chi, maybe. Yeah. How about you?
Thor.
All Thor films?
Yes.
Acceptable. That is acceptable.
They are not good. But wait, not all Thor films.
No?
I haven't seen the recent one. That one was shit. I haven't seen it. The recent
one?
Yeah, but the first 3.
Oh, yeah, the first 3. The first 3.
Because pick 3, right? I completely forgot about that it even existed, that bad one. They're not good either. Not as shit as the 4th or 5th. Whatever. Love and Thunder, that one. That one was garbage.
Yes, it was.
The others were not good either, but I like them.
Yeah.
And they have a Loki.
Oh, yeah.
Because Venom, unfortunately, doesn't count.
Oh. Would you otherwise choose all 3 Venom films, even though the third one hasn't even come out yet?
Yes.
Tater tots.
Exactly. They're also garbage, but black alien goo.
Black alien goo.
And I mean, I love Venom. Venom is like my favorite thing of the entire Marvel universe.
Yeah. But if it's the Loki that makes you choose the Thor installments, that's like the Avengers installments also sometimes feature a Loki.
But they also have Captain America.
Yeah, I suppose they cancel each other out.
And it's not all about Loki, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I also enjoyed Doctor Strange, and I really liked What If, but I just like the garbage Thor films.
Yeah.
If we're talking about good films, then I would have to choose Iron Man, which is also really good. But no, I'm standing by favorite ones are Thor.
Yeah, personal opinion.
I don't like the MCU.
Personal opinions are valid.
The MCU is like trash that you enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them if I think about it objectively. Like none of it. But subjectively, Thor, I guess.
Okay.
Loki. Loki TV series has 2 seasons, phase 4, 5 thingy, something.
Yeah, something.
I guess. Okay, I have issues with Sylvie, because Sylvie, according to me, in my opinion, is not a Loki.
Discuss. Well, monologue first, then discuss.
What was it? I keep... variant.
Mm-hmm.
Not variant. The variants are a thing, I guess. Sylvie is supposed to be a Loki variant.
Yes, neitshayd.
Oh, right. Before I go into Sylvie being Loki or not a Loki, I want to note their romantic involvement does not erase their bisexuality. The problem is that we never see either in a same-sex relationship, and that is it is specifically in that is the problem that we never. But them being together as a technically het couple, because either only represents as one gender, which we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But it is perfectly in character for Loki to fall in love with himself.
That it is.
Comic Loki, at least. MCU Loki, actually not really, but for comic Loki, that's perfectly in character.
Hey.
Well, I'm not so sure about Agent of Asgard Loki, actually. He's just gone through an entire journey to find himself and his identity as the god of stories. Yeah, that's from Agent of Asgard. It's just, I have to say it again, it's so good. And the way it's written is so good, but the god of stories thing in the Loki TV series is completely different and not what happened.
Yeah.
It's a bit similar to like the one reference we get to God of Outcasts from classic Loki in season 1 of Loki. It's a reference that's there, but completely out of context.
Hey.
Anyway, so yeah, comic Loki in Agent of Asgard just went through an entire journey to find himself, his identity, and who he is in the context of his very complicated past. And accepts himself with literally another version of themselves. It's a whole thing. Early days, comic Loki only ever viewed sex and romance and even gender as a means to an end, and was so self-absorbed, egocentric that, yeah, he would have totally fallen in love with it if he was presented with a badass, like-minded version of himself.
Narcissist.
Oh, yes. The early days, totally, definitely, certainly. Yeah, self-acceptance, self-love are a theme of Age of Asgard. They took that a bit too literally in the show. Because Agent of Asgard did that and did it well, but the show doesn't give me the same feelings. I feel like I'm watching 2 characters fall in love and not 2 Lokis fall in love.
Yeah.
Sylvie emphasizes more than once that she is not a Loki and she isn't written like one. And that can be good or bad in the context of the show, the variants, and the entire framing of the narrative, depending on the angle from which you view it. Comic Loki also, in that scene, does not betray his other self right after the whole emotion shenanigan. The shit stuff, emotions.
Yes.
He doesn't do that. Sylvie does that. She betrays Loki.
So, Sylvie. In season 1, she does strike me as somewhat of a Loki, at least, even though she insists she isn't one. Because she is deviant and only wants to follow her own path, like a Loki would. She's clever enough, even as a child, to escape the TVA as well. It took another Loki to figure out that she hides in apocalypses, because Loki's thought process is just different, and their ideas are random and sometimes ridiculously strange. Sylvie does what she thinks is right for her, like a Loki. And then season 2 hits.
Yeah. I disagree.
Yeah, I could already have guessed that from what you have said so far, but you disagree?
No, go on. I'll still get back to season 1 Sylvie afterwards. Just do your thing.
So
talk, Cecilia.
Talk. I'm supposed to talk. Oh no.
For once in your life, talk. No, sorry.
For once in my life, I'm supposed to talk. I will do my best to talk for a little bit at least. Okay. Right. So in season 2, Loki's just done with everything. Doesn't care about the imminent destruction of everything, every timeline, even her own existence. But didn't we learn in season 1 that what Lokis do is survive, and she doesn't really have like it doesn't seem like she would want to survive, at least to me. She's just like done with everything. And Loki is full of ambition, never gives up, always tries, always scheming. Sylvie is currently in season 2 doing the exact opposite. The state of contentment and not caring is just not Loki whatsoever. Loki always wants more, wants to rise above the rest, wants to prove they are awesome. Or, well, just fake their death and chill out. That would also be Loki, but that was different, you know? When has Loki ever been, like, content for a longer period of time? I mean, I suppose classic Loki was, but even then at the end it was like, oh yeah, and whoops, very end. But Sylvie is just like, and one of Loki's greatest enemies is boredom. Nothing interesting happening, everything being ordinary and the same, which is the case for Sylvie. And I'm like, you're content with that? Not very Loki-like. It would be fine for a little bit, maybe a month, but longer? That's not the Loki I've come to know, you know, as a not comic reader, that is. Yes, Sylvie is different from protagonist Loki, but that doesn't mean she is an entirely different character, because at the end of the day, Sylvie is still supposed to be a Loki. Or, yeah, supposed to be the key word here. Every Loki has made similar experiences, and experiences are what shape a person along with their inherent DNA. So,
nurture versus nature.
Yes, exactly. So, even though the nurture part is different, the nature part should still be the same, and that doesn't seem to be the case with Sylvie. So it's like, yeah, every Loki should be roughly the same at the core, with slightly different quirks because of the nurture part. In my opinion, if it were good writing, you would need to be able to swap Loki and Sylvie at random, just for the majority of the screen time, not all the screen time, but majority, without them feeling out of character, because they are both Lokis at the end of the day. And that is definitely not the case for season 2. Even Mobius offhandedly says in season 2, episode 3, that Loki is a man of action. In season 2, Sylvie is very much inactive. Does she do anything?
Yeah, she's very inactive. But I also disagree with you on this argument.
Feel free to disagree and then tell me why.
Because Sylvie deviated from a very young age. And you must keep in mind that Loki is canonically several centuries old.
Oh yeah, I tend to forget that.
We don't know how old Sylvie is, but Loki has been shaped by hundreds of years of experience. Several hundreds of those years, lots and lots of time spent at Thor's side, being the lesser of two children. That shaped, that's the core of 2012 Loki.
Yeah, that would shape a lot.
That is the entire thing that made, yeah. Sylvie doesn't have that. Sylvie doesn't have that. She either doesn't have those centuries of experience entirely, or she has centuries of experience that are very, very different. And you say that experiences are what shapes a person. And Sylvie is the variant with the biggest differences, having made it the longest as a variant without being pruned. Which is ironic, because that makes me a bit of a hypocrite for what I'm about to say next. But
oh yeah, it's like it's a combination of nature and nurture. So I can accept a certain degree of deviating from the Loki we have, but it feels like season 2 is too much. But if you are like adding into the mix all the hundreds of years, I suppose like
that's a lot.
After so many years, the nurture part would outweigh the nature part.
Yes, it's a lot, and yeah, I'm gonna be a hypocrite now because
I can see that. Argument accepted.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, but I disagreed earlier. Season 1 Sylvie is not Loki for me. Not at all. Not at all.
Then please elaborate.
Yeah. And I don't like that, and that's why. Yeah, okay, hundreds of years difference, so I can see why they would be so different. But yeah, no.
Okay.
I want a Loki
variant.
If you say they keep setting it up. They keep setting it up as a Loki variant. Variant, yes. a Loki variant. And they don't deliver. Sylvie is a character on her own, not a Loki. Her being a Loki is the premise that made season 1 work, but the way she was written doesn't fit. Sylvie doesn't look like a Loki, only dresses like a Loki initially, which is weird considering history. Where did she get that look from? Doesn't sound like a Loki, doesn't taste like a Loki.
Nightshayd means to say, she doesn't feel like a Loki. Even if
I can't touch, how would I know what she feels like?
It's like, yeah,
I constantly get the feeling the writers forgot who and what a Loki is. In the MCU in general, not just the TV series. I mean, they also forgot he was a frost giant by the time Infinity War came around and never remembered afterwards, not even the TV series where they mention his frost giant father.
Yeah.
So there's that. For goodness sake, Loki gets beaten up by a human in a scene where he's able to use his freaking magic.
That shouldn't be able to work.
A frost giant getting his ass beaten by an enchanted human. Dude. But we mentioned this last time, just the magic and shapeshifting especially just gets forgotten entirely.
Yeah. Like,
we don't even need Loki to catch Sylvie. The only useful thing he brings to the table is the realizing the whole hiding in Apocalypse's part, but the TVA would have figured that out eventually. Time moves differently for them. The entire setup of the show is so flimsy. Additionally, another issue with the writing of a Loki. This Loki that we have as a protagonist in season 1 doesn't feel like a 2012 Avengers accurate Loki, even before cramming a whole lot of character development into him via a slideshow. And what about Thanos? Hadn't he already made contact with the Mad Titan? He had no word about him. And also we get this little funny little scene, DB Cooper was Loki along, ha ha ha. Doesn't feel in character for past Loki either. Before you asked to see her, that was an event that took place in this world, unsolved case. They never found Cooper. It's not even a comic thing. Yeah, it's and the role is Sylvie, but also our main Loki. It's a writing issue on all accounts. Bad writing on all accounts. It's just not working.
I expected
it does not
better
work.
from Marvel. They didn't deliver.
They did not deliver. That was all I wanted to say on that.
Okay, now we've both got our opinions out.
TVA versus Multiverse. Fight to the death. Fight to the death.
I have a Toffee on my side.
But are you on the TVA or the Multiverse side?
Well, we will have to wait and see, I suppose.
White Vampire Cat will, of course, always win.
Yes.
So, let me... Comics?
Comics.
The TVA exists in the comics. Has existed since an issue from 1986, not the year 1986 in universe, but in our universe, in a comic issue from 1986. Was part of a Thor comic, incidentally. TVA in the comics is all about bureaucracy, keeping tabs on the multiverse, not a sacred timeline. Also only a small section of the multiverse, just keeping it in check. Pruning timelines that get too out of hand and being at odds with Kang? Don't even know how to pronounce the name. Kang the Conqueror. I will just call him Kang. We haven't watched Quantumania, so I have no reference for his name. And Alive was the first being to break free from time, by the way. I think Alive actually keeps Kang in check. Like, Kang can't go too far back in time. I think 2000 BC or something, because Alive eats that. Or something. Time shenanigans. But yeah, the TVA is like, they are hindering our work. So yeah. I believe almost the entire staff is made of clones from the same person, and that person was a reference to some comic writer, author, person? I'm not sure. It was a reference to some real person. He Who Remains exists in the comics. He is not the creator of the TVA, nor are the Timekeepers. He Who Remains is the last director of the TVA at the Citadel at the end of time. Kind of similar to TV.
Yeah.
He's really different in the comics. As far as I'm aware, he's also not a Kang variant. But he created the Timekeepers. He created them with the intention of having them survive the heat death of the universe and help future cycles of time that come after. Because it's all a cycle.
Heat death of the universe? Is Medical Magic and part of Marvel? Does Yubei work for the TVA?
Did you know the Infinity Stones were at one point called Soul Gems?
Oh gosh. Hell.
Yeah.
Hell.
I can't go into them. That would take an entire episode, but their creation also ties directly with the universe. Actually.
Neitshayd. No, please. No.
Oh, fine. I won't do it. I didn't read the relevant comics to make an episode about them anyway, so no Infinity Stones episode. But yeah, QB trying to prevent the heat death is probably he works directly for the TVA, right?
Yes, apparently they do.
Yeah, MCU films established multiverse, Loki TV series established sacred timeline. Now there is a whole lot of different interpretations that could be made to make these two fit together, but why would we do that? I want to rant instead.
Okay, if you want to rant, then I'm gonna start. So please save your
go ahead.
Isn't the multiverse supposed to be endless? Then how does this whole sacred timeline thing work exactly? There is a sacred timeline that is ruled over by He Who Remains. But there's not one timeline, but apparently multiple. Because of that, we have like different versions of the same character, branches happening. So how was it decided how many timelines are like allowed to exist? Because branches get pruned and erased. Would mean like only one timeline, but we have multiverses. How does it fit within the multiverse? Is every like universe allowed to have like one timeline? Like is every timeline one universe, meaning multiple timelines are actually the multiverse itself, and that's how it would fit together? But time also moves the same way in all multiverses, right? And from the TVA, we learned that time happens over and over again, if I understood that correctly. It's like for one timeline, multiple points of time move forward at the same time? Because branches in the timeline happen at different points in this sacred timeline, and the branches the TVA has to take care of don't happen like linearly. Didn't we previously establish that we do have branches in the timeline, and that is the reason we have a multiverse in the first place? But if we erase all the branches that would create all the different timelines, then we wouldn't have a multiverse. He Who Remains tells us that there is a multiverse, in fact. He ended the multiversal war, after all. And to prevent another multiversal war, he established a sacred timeline. Like every existing universe, or did he erase the other universes by erasing their timelines? Sacred timeline style? But the multiverse is endless. How was he able to limit something that is limitless? Magic or dinosaurs? How did he do it? Did he go back to a point in time where there weren't many universes yet, since the universe had just been created, so the branches were just starting up? So I'm just confused. I'm confused. And I would like to have like a multiverse. Every universe has its own timeline, so we have different versions of all the characters. Please and thank you. So the multiverse will win.
Comic lore.
Comic lore.
I understand it. There is only one time. Wait. I completely forgot what I wanted to say. Okay. Every time something deviates,
yes,
it gets reset to fit the story. He Who Remains once.
Okay.
So there's only one universe, one timeline.
Sucks.
As of start of Loki season 1.
Okay.
The show gave us a pretty good visual for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got this one line.
Yes, one straight line, no branches.
Yeah. Look at it like this. You simultaneously, at the same time, get the deviating version and the pruned reset version. One in the TVA. But if you're outside the TVA, only the sacred timeline exists. Deviations do not exist outside the TVA because TVA they make sure that they never come into existence.
Okay.
Pruning resets it, no existence. They never were there.
They were never there, but for the TVA, they were still there because they still had to prune them.
Outside the TVA is in a separate plane. After all, only the sacred timeline exists. Inside the TVA, you see a deviation, you go and erase it so that it doesn't exist anymore. Right? Prune it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. So one timeline, one universe.
Okay.
On that matter, TVA, season 1 says time moves differently in the TVA. That works, yeah. Season 2, but then says time doesn't work in the TVA, which is contradictory, a paradox, and also not what they said in season 1.
They also said in season 1 that the TVA is outside of time.
Which is also a contradiction. I mean, I suppose they're outside of the sacred timeline, but not time itself. And
yeah, because it's like
the TVA has a past and future.
Even if they're like in the TVA and then they are like traveling to different points on the sacred timeline, they can't. It's like, okay, we're chasing this one character, but they still like appear after this character appeared there because they can't like move to the point before that because time still has moved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's complicated science, sci-fi
physics. Is it even physics?
Time? I think time is physics. Multiverse means literally multiple universes with very different, history, which is the timeline. So, like, maybe every universe has its own sacred timeline, but I don't want to support this idea because I simply do not want to. Either way, the TVA and Endgame do not fit together, in my opinion. Especially Steve staying in the past with Peggy.
Yeah.
And yes, I cannot stand Captain America. I am biased, I fully admit that, but my point still stands.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like...
Also, how does the reset work? By what is it powered? Give me the science. I mean, it's powered by the Loom, isn't it? But science. I want science. Give me science. Yeah, Time Loom. I just said it. Let me go on more about the Time Loom nonsense. So, rambling incoming.
Go ahead.
So, the temporal loom, that's what it was called. Yes. The temporal loom causes, I will call it noodlification.
Yes.
I know they say spaghettification, which sounds cool, but noodlification of all timelines. That's what happens in season 2. So we need to fix the loom so no noodlification occurs. But the loom wasn't always a thing. Multiple timelines coexisted without the loom before, so why won't we destroy it? Because of Kang. Why are we not calling him Kang in the show, actually?
I don't know. He who remains. Kang.
Yes. Because Kang, it's not his real name. But yeah, he who remains and Victor Timely, gosh, that name, they are Kang variants, or Kang, or whatever you want to pronounce his name. I have no idea. The multiversal war was caused by Kang the Conqueror, who originally was a scientist from the 31st century called Nathaniel Richards. He remains confirms this in season 1. I don't remember if he mentions his name, but he does tell us he came from the 31st century. The variant called Victor Timely, very on the nose, that name, was put in the 19th century as a contingency plan by Kang, which is who he is, Kang. It's a thing. There's a thing about Kangs.
Yeah, I think he might have mentioned his name, but I don't really remember because they just used he who remains so often that if they maybe mentioned his name once, or even twice.
Yeah, I got a bit confused at times because it's like, you mean Kang, and sometimes, most of the time they mean the he who remains variant of Kang, but sometimes they specifically meant the Kang in general.
Confusing.
And just didn't, they said this is all comic knowledge, by the way. I haven't watched Quantumania, I have no idea there was a Kang in there. The only thing I know about Quantumania is that there was Kang, and Kang the Conqueror was in there, in the post-credit scene, which I'll get into because that's an issue.
Hey.
But yeah. Also, it's like a future version of Kang went into past and tell him his name was Kang, and that's why he named himself Kang, and it's like a loop thing.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, we are not actually sure how that name, except for that loop paradox, came to be and why it's Kang specifically and what it means. No idea. Because he was Nathaniel Richards. Also interesting, most of his variants sometimes are sometimes they look like they're completely different species, but they all started out as Nathaniel Richards. I'm like, how did that even happen? So many possibilities.
Magic and dinosaurs.
Anyway, TV show Kang, aka He Who Remains, put in a failsafe to have a loom destruction pune all not sacred timelines, which is what is happening in season 2. Not that they really realize that. They're like, oh no, everything's going to shit, but it's like, no, all the superfluous branches of being pruned in the sacred timeline will remain. Not everything is going to shit, Loki. The sacred timeline will remain, which is not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the Loom powers the TVA and ensures there is one timeline. But we don't need that. Loki and Co didn't even know about the failsafe. They only knew it was overloading, so yeah, okay, Loki didn't want to lose his friends, which only able to exist in the TVA, right?
Yeah.
The TVA versions. And no TVA means no friends, but you do not need the Loom. All it's doing, to your knowledge about the failsafe, is turning time into energy for the TVA to use. But did I get that wrong? How does it even work? I want to know. Give me the science.
How did no one even realize they have to scale like for infinity? Like it's so obvious. It's like, why are you even attempting it?
It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, drama, I suppose, and all the action scenes and drama. Oh no, panic. Yeah. Destroying it would probably activate the failsafe. We are not quite sure on that. I mean, Loki does destroy it, or lets it be destroyed in the end, but yeah. Anyway, do we know that? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether destroying it would activate the failsafe or not. Loki couldn't know about it anyway for most of the time. Yeah. And I was like, why did they never entertain destroying the damn thing? Well, Multiverse of War, right?
Multiverse of War.
But. Cat butt. You want the pet the cat butt. Sorry. Cecilia, go and pet the cat butt for me.
On it.
Yes. Very important.
Cat butt got petted.
So you want to keep the TVA to keep the Kangs away, but you also want to leave the branches be, which automatically creates more Kangs. So the plan is to fix the Loom to keep the TVA alive, then use the TVA to keep the Kangs in check. But that doesn't work because the Loom cannot handle infinite timelines.
Yeah, it cannot handle infinite timelines. It's like, nice.
But now we have Loki handling it all. The timelines.
Yes.
No more Loom. So what powers the TVA now? Where's the power coming from?
Is Loki the power source now? Did he just become a
Doesn't
battery?
make sense. He's not a Loom. He can't. I don't see any way in which he would know how to and even be able to turn time into power.
Maybe they also just forgot about that part of like what they had made, like part of that was part of the lore.
The writing is a mess anyway.
They probably just forgot about this.
Now, the thing is, why does this thing need to handle multiple timelines in the first place? Just let's put Kang's failsafe aside. Why don't they reconstruct the Loom to only let 1 or 2 timelines through at once for the energy conversion to power the TVA, and all the other timelines simply pass by the Loom?
Yeah.
Not every timeline. We don't need the timelines to go through the Loom. We only need like 1 or 2 to get our energy for the TVA, and the rest can just pass by. They don't need to go through the Loom. There is no need for that. They could have just reconstructed it that way.
Yeah, then you would have needed to make the reconstruction work in time, I suppose, before it gets destroyed, because once it's destroyed...
Yeah, but Loki can time slip. He could just go back far enough and be like, okay, this is what happens in the future of the TVA, even though the TVA exists out of that time, but as we established, it doesn't really work like that. Let's build this thing so we can do that. It just implied that he spent several centuries trying to learn all the science stuff behind it from OB or someone. Anyway, so he could have just done it himself at that point. It's just...
Yeah.
The time slip makes this possible. Hey. Also, now let me circle back to the Quantumania post-credit. Still haven't watched it. I have no plans on watching it. It's garbage. What about the Kangs from that one? I mean, Mobius makes a remark at the end of Loki season 2, episode 6, which is probably a reference to the Quantumania Kang. Like, yeah, that was one, but it got taken care of in the 616 adjacent realm, which is probably the Quantum realm. Because it's its own thing, but it's adjacent to 616, which is the MCU. MCU is 616. We all know that by now, probably. But then we get a post-credits, where, like, there's the Council of Kangs. And they're like, yeah, one of our... Do they reference both or just the Conqueror? I think they might even reference He Who Remains. It's like, yeah, dead. We gotta do something.
Gotta do stuff.
But the existence of all those Kangs, even the Kang the Conqueror, the existence and the consequences of this film, as implied in the post-credit scenes, would directly contradict the entire purpose of He Who Remains and his TVA status quo before Loki Season 2, as well as the status quo in Loki's new world set up at the end of Loki Season 2. It doesn't matter where you put that. It just contradicts both. So how does it fit in there? Not at all. That's how
they made a mess.
The post-credit scene just doesn't fit. I don't know about the film, but yeah. Marvel, explain this properly. In a concise way we cannot misunderstand. Give me the time science that actually makes sense instead of vague, wishy-washy explanations that have way too many possible interpretations. I want science.
Not only you, me too.
But what was I expecting? The MCU has never been logically sound nor consistent. From the beginning.
You
never has
known
been.
That. We should have known
there
that.
was never any sensibility in it. Sensibility. And
it was inevitable.
If you set it up to have us believe it makes sense, then follow through and make it make sense, please.
Well, no, they didn't do that. Why would they do that? It's Marvel, they just want to make money at this point.
Yeah, not even phases 1 to 3 were sound and logic. They weren't. They were not.
It's just, it's like, okay, we are not reconstructing the Loom. We are not addressing all the problems we have made. I'm not satisfied.
Just the entire issue of season 2 is the temporal Loom overloading. That's the central issue. And instead of any of the possible solutions they could think about, they go with the one that doesn't even make sense in the first place. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and because of that, I'm not satisfied with the ending whatsoever. Like, Loki now looks like Yggdrasil, and the TVA operates as usual, dealing with variants of He Who Remains.
Kang.
Yes, Kang. So the only thing
because it's not He Who Remains anymore. That one's dead.
Yeah, that one is dead, I suppose. So Kang.
He's a variant.
Kang.
Oh, gosh darn it. He's a variant of Kang. So Kang.
Okay. So they are dealing with variants of Kang, and the only thing that changed is that the number of timelines and universes within the multiverse increased of whatever Loki can handle, I suppose, instead of just like this sacred timeline. Everything else is more or less the same. And we had to go through so much drama for it. Free will is still not really a thing, which is what created this whole mess in the first place. Does it make that much of a difference if it's like Loki at the end of time instead of the Kang variant? And now Loki is trapped for infinity. At least he now has his greater purpose in life that he always wanted.
Yeah, but no.
No.
No. They have not read the comics. God of Stories. Bullshit. Have you read Journey into Mystery or Agent of Asgard or whatever it was? Dude.
I'm wondering the specialists they hired to keep track of the lore they have created. Does this person is this person only aware of the like MCU lore, or has this person also read the comics?
I mean, we all know Marvel lost track of its own universe.
Yes,
MCU,
that's
right?
why they needed to hire an outsider to keep track of their own lore.
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean, it's comic adaptation thingy, but very loosely. I don't know whether the person they hired. Technically, they should need more. Technically, at the scale we are working at, they need more than one. And also, it's probably better if they haven't read the comics, so they can concentrate fully on making the MCU consistent, which is a futile task.
It's like they should have like hired this person, or like from the start, or just hired someone at the start to keep track of all of this, because they must have known that they wanted to create a vast universe. So hire someone at the very beginning to keep track of all the lore. Like keep some form of, I don't know, Excel spreadsheet as well, some document.
Wiki.
Yes, a wiki. It's like, I
mean, there's softwares for that.
Yes, the websites like people keep getting sponsored by to keep track of their own world building.
Campfire, World Anvil, among others. One is better for writers, the other better for D&D campaigns. They are really, really good. There are also other softwares. I know that Campfire and World Anvil also have app version. Or Campfire at least has an app version. I'm not sure about World Anvil.
It's like, and Marvel has enough resources to make their own software that would be able to do that. Or just like hire someone from the beginning. You could use like one of these third-party softwares, even if it maybe didn't exist in the beginning, like start off with like a wiki, an Excel spreadsheet, whatever. And then once these softwares were around, you could be like, oh yeah, that's really useful. Let's use this, or make our own version of this. It's like, But there was never any reason for them to make such a mess of things and contradict each other. And they contradicted each other just more and more with every installment. And it's,
I mean, they started out as films that were singular.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they did.
Iron Man, Thor, they just could they stood on their own.
Yeah.
Which I think, I'm gonna go a little bit into that in the X-Men episode, /episodes, don't know how long they will be. About, that was just, at the time, the MCU got really great and all that, and they did this really, they set a precedent for other films, right?
Yes.
But it's just like, they had these, and that was like, great. They had films that were contained. You didn't have to watch Thor if you didn't want to, or if you were an Iron Man fan, and vice versa, right? Just enjoy one or the other, and all the others, of course. Never, okay, if you're into that, let's check. No. And then the Avengers, the 2012 Avengers, was the first that tied it together at the end of Phase 1. That's how Phase 1 ended. But before Avengers, you didn't even have to watch Avengers. Just you could, and it would, or you didn't even have to watch every installment that came before either. It's just, it was all kind of individual, but yeah. And I'm not sure at which point they started planning crossing it over, because the first installments were individual installments. They didn't work together. They didn't have to, but that's where it already started, right?
Yes, it's like, okay, they were
it was already a mess.
But once they came around to like, oh yeah, let's make like Avengers 2012, let's have them all come together. That should have been the point where they were like, okay, someone please look into all the lore we've created for the individual films so that we can accurately combine it.
Yeah, it more or less held up until Endgame, phases 1 to 3. More or not, partially, more or less. It held together with a lot of duct tape. Right?
Yes,
lots of tape.
Lots of duct tape. Tape.
And then it fell apart. And now it's worse than the comics. The comics at least have a reasonable excuse to be contradictory, because that's how they've always been. New writers retconning old works just because. But the franchise doesn't have that film. The film franchise just doesn't have that excuse. They don't. And they always, the way they set it up was meant to be coherent.
It's just,
but it's not.
The creators' endgame should have been Endgame, and everything after that is, well, it's just out there to make money, isn't it? It feels like that. Like it's just there to make money, no other reason.
The entire fandom agrees. Although, I mean, I enjoy the idea of getting to explore some of these lovely characters more in depth, right? Like Loki.
Yes.
But it's just sad. Loki season 1 was a hot mess of madness already. Multiverse of Madness came, directly contradicted this. Loki season 2 and Quantumania made it even worse. It's just, right, that's just 4 installments. Loki season 1, Multiverse of Madness, Loki season 2 and Quantumania. And they already make a huge mess of contradictions.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what all the other Phase 4 and 5 installments are doing, and we have not bothered to keep track of that at all. I heard they're almost all bad.
Like, to be honest, I don't even want to know, because Marvel has not given me enough like
incentive.
Yeah, I was like, pronunciation. How do I pronounce this again?
Did I write that word for you?
I think so.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry. Incentive.
Like, I don't use. What word is this?
It's a nicer word for motivation, I guess.
But yeah, Marvel hasn't given me enough incentive to spend any money on their new shit, because
I just realized.
Yes.
I missed an opportunity for the background. It's such a minor detail, and because I'm pointing it out, no one would have noticed before. The horn.
Yes.
It could have curved behind the little ring.
Oh yeah, it could have. That would have been. Yeah, now it's.
Why am I only noticing this now? Darn it! Sorry.
Too late.
I just saw. Sorry, I just looked at the background. Okay, sorry. Continue.
Where was I? Yeah, Marvel hasn't given me enough incentive to spend any money on their newer shit, because I have just lost hope for them to create anything like worthwhile. I don't think they will ever get better at this point with not contradicting themselves. So it's just not worth it to keep up with the MCU anymore, in my opinion at least. Also, there's way too much. It's like way too much. Yeah, it's just mediocre or not. It's just too much. I don't have that much time on my hands, you know?
Because I think it's not actually more than the first 3 phases. It's just like more in a small amount of time.
Yeah,
faster.
It's like the
and lots of things are serious, and serious is longer than a movie.
Serious is longer than a movie, and I think they just get more stuff out there in like shorter amount of time. That just makes it oh gosh, there's something new again and again. So far, they have a good track record from what I've seen of phases like 4 and 5.
They don't, you mean?
Oh yeah, there was a word missing, I suppose. Happens
they don't have good track record.
You know, if you think faster, then you happens.
They don't have a good track record.
They don't have a good track record from what I've seen from like phases 4 and 5. So unless someone tells me that they actually did a good job with a film or a TV show, I will likely not watch it, because why would I?
But didn't Phantom say Guardians 3 was pretty good? And we didn't watch that either.
Yeah, but I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy all that much to begin with. So...
I mean, I suppose we did start watching Moon Knight, but we dropped it. I did hear it didn't watch up the DID representation, though. That's something. It's apparently pretty good, actually.
Oh. Maybe we should get back to that. Maybe not. Me.
I mean, I have no motivation.
Yeah.
What else did we watch from phases 4 and 5? No, was phase 4 actually that bad? Because do you know what we watched? I have a list.
You have a list?
Look at this.
Okay.
Phase 4. We watched WandaVision.
Yes.
Black Widow. Loki Season 1. What If Season 1. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Hawkeye. Spider-Man No Way Home. We started Moon Knight but never finished. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And then from phase 5, we watched Loki Season 2, What If Season 2, and we might watch Deadpool 3. I mean, no, we will watch Deadpool 3.
Yes.
Because Wolverine is in it. It's a crossover with the X-Men. We're gonna watch that.
Of course.
It comes out at the end of July 22. Oh. It comes out next month. As of recording this episode. It might already be out by the time I upload this. Yeah. Also, Agatha is getting her own series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually quite a lot. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. It's not everything, but I believe, we watched all installments for phases 1 to 3 except Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But we started that. We just didn't finish it.
Yeah, it was just too
much.
We
watched quite a lot of it. It's quite something for phase 4. And basically nothing for phase 5 because the 3 I mentioned are all sequels.
Yeah.
Do we want to go over them briefly? Just to see?
Yes, we can go over them briefly because, it's actually they're not so bad.
Okay, WandaVision. The less said about that, the better. It started well, but then went down a steep hill.
I love magic. Wanda is a powerful witch.
And Agatha.
We know Marvel can do awesome effects. It could have been an awesome show, but the writing went downhill further and further with each episode.
Yeah, briefly. I said, okay, next.
Yeah.
Black Widow. I suppose the action scenes were nice.
It wouldn't have been Black Widow without good action scenes.
Loki, we just did 2 episodes on that.
We talked about that very briefly, I would say.
Yeah, very briefly. What If? That one was good.
I like that one a lot.
Shang-Chi, I'm not sure whether it was actually good or if we just enjoyed it because we love Shang-Chi and wuxia settings.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't know which of the two it is, but at the end of the day, personal opinion, good.
Hawkeye, boring.
For some reason, I only remember ice skating.
Same.
It's like, why is that scene specifically?
It's like, why ice skate?
Ice skating. It's like he's ice skating.
Yeah. Okay. Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't remember actually. Was that the one with Doctor Strange?
Yes, that was the one with Doctor Strange. I think it was decent if memory serves me right.
I mean, I like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Good. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness looked nice, had some cool crossovers, but that's about it.
My expectations were higher than what we got. At least it looks really good.
Yeah, but that is the minimum requirement for films made by Marvel that are entirely CGI.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just be honest. It was garbage. Story was garbage. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Black Panther. I think I like this one.
Yeah, I also liked it. Especially the strong female characters in Black Panther. It's like, who needs men? Let the women take over. Men are incompetent. I find it surprising that they actually like so much stuff from Phase 4 that I mean, we only watched selected stuff, so that plays a role as well.
Yeah, but it's a large chunk. There's actually not that much left that we didn't watch.
Yeah, so it's like Phase 4 is not supposed to be good, like from like opinion on the internet. But then I look at what we've watched and what I liked, and it's like, that's more than I expected.
Give me a second to look up Phase 4 installments. Just one moment.
Just one moment. I will just look at the Toffee for one moment. Aww.
Who's the best Toffee? Toffee is the best Toffee. Such a fat kitty.
But it's our fat kitty, you know? And our fat kitty Toffee is the best Toffee.
Okay, we watched Black Widow, we watched Shang-Chi, we did not watch The Eternals, but I heard it was bad. We watched Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, we watched... Thor, Love and Thunder was garbage, we watched Black Panther. We did not watch the Marvels, we did not watch Guardians, but it was fine. Quantumania, nah, who cares? Blade?
What?
There was a new Blade film.
What now?
But Blade already had good films. They're not part of the MCU, but they are good Blade films.
That's why I don't know them.
Fantastic Four also got new.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Apparently, Blade and Fantastic Four. Although, to be fair, the original Fantastic Four films, also not part of the MCU, are also garbage. They did them dirty. Anyway, serious. WandaVision, we watched that. Falcon Winter Soldier. Why would we? Marvel's Loki. What If? Hawkeye. Miss Marvel. Moon Knight. She-Hulk. Oh gosh.
Oh god.
Secret Invasion. Ironheart. Armor Wars. I Am Groot. Echo.
Am Groot.
Agatha, wait, but that's already... Apparently the website doesn't know if Phase 5 is a thing.
Hey.
Spider-Man Freshman Year, Marvel Zombies.
Spider-Man Freshman Year? Okay.
No idea.
Okay.
But it looks like the list I just got mixed 5 in there as well. Doesn't matter.
But
yeah, we watched a good part of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I suppose... Yeah, Phase 4, like you said, wasn't that bad. It certainly featured more bad acts than the MCU ever had before. You would think. And Phase 5 is more or less bad. But now I hit you with a big twist. I actually think Phases 1 and 3 weren't that much better.
It's not that big of a twist. At least not now after we've had this discussion. Like, you know, over time our expectations just increase. Technology gets better. We get used to seeing great CGI. So we want the actual stories, writing to improve as well. Yeah.
That's the same thing with the X-Men films, because I've got this thing. We're gonna probably mention a lot of things we already said, and again, I'm going to in the X-Men, because I'm like, that applies to X-Men as well.
Yeah, the people behind Marvel gained experience, and we want to see that put to use. Of course, we are disappointed if our growing expectations aren't met, if they are just like the same level of writing that they had before, but we expect them to gain experience, become better. And if that just doesn't happen, expectations not met, then we think it's like bad, even if the new stuff is like just as good as the old stuff. If it's just not better, but because of that we like it less. It's
People were just less critical of the franchise at the time.
Yeah,
there are some really good installments, or I suppose it was almost all films in Phases 1 to 3, wasn't it? So it's like films, no series.
Yeah, a lot of films in the beginning.
That's also a contributing factor. That's a big factor as well. That it was all films, movies, thingies, and not TV series. And we had some mediocre ones and some that are actually bad if you take a closer look. But the same goes for Phase 5, 4, and I mean, I don't know about 5. I haven't seen enough. But just taking 4 and comparing it to 1, 2, 3, it's... Both parts have good eggs, bad eggs, mediocre. The MCU has just run its course, lost its momentum, run out of steam.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem, you mentioned this earlier, the biggest problem is there's no payoff anymore.
Yep.
Phase 1 or was that last episode? Anyway, Phase 1 ended with the first Avengers. Phase 2 ended with the second, well, kind of Ant-Man is also part of Phase 2, but whatever, we don't count Ant-Man. It's like with the second Avengers film, and then Phase 3 had the big show off to tie it all together, Endgame. So right? Yeah. Each Phase 1, 2, 3 ended with like a big crossover tying the phase together and what happened there. Phase 4 just quietly went into Phase 5. No one noticed, and we barely have any crossovers between installments. The writers clearly don't communicate with each other. I mean, Loki, Quantumania, Madness, Multiverse of Madness. It's just they don't talk to each other. There's no direction or anything. It feels like we went from action fantasy plot structure to slice of life.
There's simply nothing for us to look forward to. No growing anticipation for final payoff or anything. And don't get me wrong, I like slice of life sometimes, but it's just like...
It's not really a slice of life, it's just structurally.
Yeah, it's like structurally more like slice of life, but it doesn't really fit for Marvel.
Oh, Marvel. Oh, Marvel.
Marvel. And you know, Disney as well. There are these high production companies, but actually... wasn't there something about them actually losing money with their films now? Because they messed up big time with all the recent installments, putting so much money in all these like supposedly good graphics, and then you're looking at the end result and says like, yeah, you could have gotten like, we've had similar quality with way less budget, and they made more money in the end. Because you can increase the budget however you want. If it doesn't make the film any better, then why would you? Then you're just losing money.
I don't know. I don't care. Who cares? Don't know. Don't care. The productions look good. The actors are doing great jobs. The installments are not really enjoyable at all. Very mediocre stories, really bad writing. And the novelty has worn off.
Yeah, that too.
And yeah, it's big blockbuster. Throw a lot of money at it. But
please make it.
Why throw money at it if no one's gonna enjoy it?
Yeah, then you're just losing money in the end.
And Disney is doing that as well. It's like we didn't need the Little Mermaid live action. No one needed this. No one wanted this. No one watched it.
It's like, yeah. Like what for who did you produce this?
Yeah, and it's like a lot of big thingies that like they throw so much money at it, and I'm like, that's not necessary. You can make an equally as good bad a film of equal quality with less money.
Yes,
I don't remember any examples off the top of my head, but I know there are some films with like very smaller budgets that look just as good.
Yeah, like I already said.
We have some. Maybe do we have some odds and ends?
Yeah.
Let's briefly return to actually Loki before we end this.
Oh yeah, we should probably do that.
Yeah, just to Loki.
Okay.
TV show.
Loki TV show. What we were actually supposed to talk about.
Acting, great. Soundscaping, sets, CGI, great. Writing, hot mess. Which could basically be said for the entire MCU, if I'm being honest. I noticed I liked the Loki series more the first time I watched it, but I also only halfway paid attention to it then. And I do distinctly remember being skeptical of the world building and character building even then. I had issues with Sylvie even then, and season 2 was such a mess. It's weird. It's like I remember enjoying it more, but thinking back on it, all the issues we raised I already had back then. And then season 2 made me wonder, where do all these new unimportant characters come from? Except OB. He's nice. We like him.
But yes, we like OB, but where did all the others come from? It's like, but there's a cat in the TVA now.
Yeah, it's the most important character of them all. Cat. Yeah, that's it for Loki.
Yeah, good ending note. Cat.
We are probably gonna do more MCU in the future.
Probably.
We are definitely gonna do non-MCU Marvel, which is X-Men and Venom. Waiting for the third Venom. Well, Venom will take a while because October. Where it's at. Not sure whether that... I need to look at our calendar. Maybe we can just get... If we reschedule X-Men, so we can watch Deadpool 3, but we're not gonna include it. We're just gonna watch it with... Whatever. Anyway. In the meantime, you can find us on X, Twitter, Spotify, and YouTube at Toffies. You can find me, also Cecilia, on Twitch Saturdays. I stream. Cecilia is there.
Yeah.
Nightshade. I sometimes post random art on Instagram at Nightshade. It's in the description.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a comment. What did you think of Loki seasons 1 and 2? Does Sylvie feel like a Loki to you personally? And what are your favorite MCU installments?
X-Men might be next. Harry Potter's in there somewhere again.
Yeah.
No one cares about Harry Potter, but we have fun with it. Whatever. X-Men is in our future.
Yes.
And our flag means death in our future.
Okay.
Until then, bye.